Yes, the 1997 Jersey Rally as we look across the channel to France. Jersey, of course, that wonderful mixture of Anglo-French cooperation. And here in the high street of St Helier, I guess their bankers there, looking at some of the cars lined up for the Friday afternoon start of the Shell Oil's Jersey Rally.
Jimmy McRae, first Jersey Rally. What are your thoughts at the moment?
I'm looking forward to it, really. It's one a rally I've looked at before, and I've seen it growing and growing, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Steve Hill, one of the leading runners in the Mintex National Series. What's the attraction of coming to the Jersey Rally?
It's going to be one of the last events I do in the E3, and I thought, well, let's try and get it really good on tarmac, and that's really why we're here, and we were invited as well, so it was quite nice.
Now, tarmac rallying really your breeding ground. Not so much of that on the Mintex. Are we going to see a vintage performance from you here?
It'd be nice to think so, but the island's the roads are very, very narrow, and it's going to be a job to get into a rhythm. So let's see how we go, I think.
Now, you've got a bit of a habit in the Mintex rounds of having young lady co-drivers. Not something you continued here. Tell us a bit about your co-driver today.
Well, as it was an invitation, they actually organised the co-driver as well, so I didn't have too much to say about it. But yeah, Jim's very good. Well pleased to have him. But it's nice to have a lady in the car, you know. They fit the overalls much better than I do. So.
Yes, this is the land of the Mark II Escort, and one of the local exponents is Stuart Fossey and his wife.
Stuart and Teresa Fossey, the top Jersey crew on the event. Are you going to have an advantage by knowing the roads?
Probably slight advantage, but I think Jimmy should be a little bit better than us doing more rallies. So.
What sort of experience do you get? I mean, do you compete on events off the island?
Yeah, we do a few in England. One in Bournemouth we do a few times a year. Oxford we do one up there. Not really as many events as we'd like to. Any reason simply being for the money, so expensive to go away.
Now this car's got a bit more heritage, I would expect, than some of the other cars in the field. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, yeah, it's done to a Group 4 Escort, BDG engine in it, 2.1. It's around about 250 horsepower, so which isn't too bad. I'd like more, but.
Now, Teresa, do you not get enough of him at home, or why do you want to sit alongside him in a rally car?
It's the only time I can get away with telling him exactly what to do, and he has to listen to me.
Put a strain on the marriage at all?
No, not at all, no. We got engaged before our first rally and did our second rally on our honeymoon, so no, definitely not.
And another Jerseyman, Jeremy Bowdoin. So you're looking forward to this?
Yes, I am. I've been, well, it's quite a big event for me. It is for a lot of local drivers. We don't all get to go away to the UK, and some do. I don't, because I've got other commitments at the moment. House extension, which my wife's been putting up with quite well. But been working on the car for the last couple of weeks. In fact, one of the other drivers has been doing the engine for me, a guy, Stuart Le Breton. We had quite a few problems on our second engine this week. Been quite a lot of late nights the last sort of 2 weeks. A lot of problems with oil pressures and things like that. And we got an engine the last minute this week on Monday, put it in, and so far it all seems to be okay. So just hope that everything goes well and keep a tidy drive, and should be all right.
But the Jersey driver we see most on the mainland is Miles Jude, sponsored of course by Derek Warwick in this Honda.
Miles, you're running a Honda Civic, and you've got a connection with Derek Warwick Honda on the island, I believe.
Indeed, yes. I'm general manager for Derek Warwick locally. Obviously, he gives me a fair bit of support and helps with his contacts in the racing industry, so it's good for me.
Now, you compete on a lot of events on the mainland. What's it like to actually have an event on your home island?
Well, it's nice. I've been doing the Mintex National Series this year. I've won the N2 class, but obviously that's all forest events, so it's going to be a little bit different being back on tarmac, although obviously being local, it does give us a slight advantage over some of the quicker non-local competitors.
Do you know the roads a bit better than some of the others, do you think?
Well, I know them fairly well. We used most of the stages that we're using 2 years ago, although unfortunately I blew my engine up while lying second then, so I didn't do the afternoon stages, which doesn't help, but obviously I've been through them on several occasions, so hopefully that will give me the advantage I need over people like Steve Hill and Jimmy McRae.
Enjoying themselves and hoping to beat Miles Jude, of course Barbara Armstrong and co-driver Lisa Addy.
Barbara Armstrong, you've been competing on the Mobil 1 British Rally Championship this year. Why are you here at the Jersey Rally?
Just basically the Jersey dealer wanted us to come over and enjoy his rally, so that's what we're here to do.
You enjoyed your season?
It's had its ups and downs. I liked the last round, the Manx. We just took our time and we went for the finish, so maybe that's what I should have tried to do all the year. I might have got better results.
Now, unlike the Manx, of course, no pace notes here, all blind format. You looking forward to that?
I am actually. As you can see, we took our time getting here. We've never done maps together, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I've heard the locals are pretty quick, so we'll just let them sort themselves out the first day. Maybe we'll go in for the kill tomorrow night, see what happens.
Meanwhile, our reporter Adrian Bourne caught up with one of the local Jersey officials.
Bob LeBrock, Constable of St Helier. Obviously this is a big event police-wise for the island.
Yes, we have to close off a certain amount of roads, and we've worked very closely with the rally group, and hopefully everything's going to go well this weekend.
An important event as well in terms of profile and tourism.
Yes, it gives us a lift, and there's quite a lot of competitors over from the UK, and obviously they're using the hotels and the other facilities the island has to offer. Perhaps they might get a chance to look at some of our countryside on the way around the course.
Now, of course, if you want to look around the countryside of Jersey when you're not competing in a rally car, you need to do it at a bit more sedate pace.
Yes, you need to, yes, because a lot of the lanes that are going to be used, and we've closed off some of the lanes this weekend, are what we call green lanes, and there's a speed limit of 15 miles an hour, but for the rally there's obviously exceptions.
Well, that's good to know. Let yourself go. Well, this is Morgan and Goss in their ex-factory Nissan, and they did let themselves go on the very first stage like this. As you can see from the front, a lot of damage. They were actually taken to hospital briefly for a check-up. So a big off on the very first stage. In all, there are 8 different stages, although they're used many times. This was the first time through for the very picturesque special stage 2. And as we said right at the beginning, a lot of Mark II escorts around in Jersey. Very popular car to rally. Remember, of course, there's quite a lot of hill climbing here as well as sand racing. It's quite a motorsport centre. Now here is Jimmy McRae in this modern Porsche. Jimmy McRae invited out to Jersey. Still, of course, very active, the 5 times British Rally champion. Now, to a degree, concentrating on historic motorsport, particularly with the David Sutton Lotus Cortina, but enjoying himself in this Porsche. And remember, of course, that driving such a car, he won the Manx National Rally earlier in 1997, so he's definitely a man to be reckoned with. Jeremy Bourdain's there in the immaculate blue Escort, going very well in the early stages. Sadly, there was a couple of non-starters from overseas. Bourdain's doing a 2:35 on that first stage, or that second stage, I should say. Steve Hill, just listen to the Mitsubishi. That is not on all its cylinders. Flat as the proverbial pancake. So some work for the Oxfordshire-based team. This car sounds good. Barbara Armstrong. Barbara, of course, will continue with Seat in 1998. But what about Jimmy McRae? He had some damage on the back of his car.
Jimmy, what's the story behind this?
I've just found out that the lanes in Jersey are very, very narrow. It was just, we had problems. I think I've got too hard a compound in the rear tyres, and they weren't heating up. And gone down to a square junction, braked, and the thing just stepped out sideways and just touched the bank. And luckily, it's only like body damage. We didn't do any suspension damage. So.
Hill also in trouble.
Steve, engine problems on the first stages.
Yeah, it laps onto one cylinder. Onto 3 cylinders on the start line of the first stage. Really strange, but it's equally strange. It laps back onto 4 now. So first stage, hopefully, give it a good crash.
That's obviously delayed you. How much time have you lost, do you think?
Probably 10 or 15 seconds, I would think. I don't really know how the others are going yet, so we'll find out when we get to service.
Now, very short stages here, so really not much of a problem as it would have been on some other events.
Oh, we'll end a rally on a national round, really. So yeah, we're still in with a chance.
Yes, meanwhile, it was the Jersey man, the Stuart Fossey and his wife, who were in the lead of the rally in their Pepsi-sponsored car. See how narrow these lanes are. smacked quite a lot of the Isle of Man. Quick through that left-hander, no question of doubt about that. And a big rallying challenge, this Jersey Rally. The stages may only be short, but got to concentrate very hard indeed, as Jimmy McRae had already found out. See another view of that damage at the back. But Jimmy was right on the pace. And it soon became apparent this was going to be a battle between McRae, Hill if he could get his car on all cylinders, and the Fosses. Going with Daines again. He was also running very well up. It's lovely to see these Mark II Escorts so well prepared, emotive cars. But now we're talking about state-of-the-art here. Steve Hill with the Steve Hill Motorsport built Evo 3 Mitsubishi. Here is Miles Jude and the high-revving Honda. Miles was actually leading front-wheel drive Formula 2 at this early stage in the rally in front of Barbara Armstrong. Obviously the Nissan had already chucked itself off, so quite a big battle between Jude and Armstrong. Jude just taking the odd second out of Barbara. This rally getting good backing from the Jersey Tourist Board. Certainly be a fun place to visit, to catch up with the rally in late autumn. Here's Barbara Armstrong and Lisa Addy. And of course these Ibizas are pretty wide and not ideal for the Nattery lanes of Jersey. And you can see there the concentration on Barbara's face. She was running well inside the top 10. Now here's a nice car to see. Fleck in his BMW M3. Nice little bit of handbrake there, but not quite keeping up the momentum. Escort. This Barrow. It's got a 2.1 litre engine in it. Stuart Barrow in the F. Brown and Son back car. And most of these stages run 4 or 5 times in a row. Groups of 2 stages, and they run through one and then through the next one. They do that several times and then move off to the next area. And cars running at 30-second intervals, just a little further on the stage, and again you can see how precise you need to be. Slightly more recent Escort, just a pip-on. So then some quick service, not much time available. Jimmy McRae still surveying that damage, not happy about bending him out of the car. And Adrian was able to catch up with him and ask how it was now going.
Jimmy, second and third runs through the stages, how were those?
We had a problem with a misfire, but we think we've found the problem. There have been some filings in the filter, so we hope that's cured that problem. But other than that, okay.
And Steve Hill, had he cured his problems?
Second and third runs through the stages, much better for you it sounded.
Yeah, it's just now running on 4 cylinders, and we've actually got some boost for the last one as well, so we're feeling a bit better than we were this morning.
You know how the times are comparing?
I think we've just taken a bit of time back out of Jimmy, but I'm not quite sure what everybody else is doing. They're being very quiet about it, so we'll have to wait and see.
Enjoying it?
Very much so, yeah. Excellent stages.
And what about Barbara Armstrong? How was she getting on?
They're all right, actually. I'm quite enjoying it now. You still got to be awfully neat and tidy, though. I mean, you can't take any chances, but I've got a habit of trying to remember the stages myself without really listening to what Lisa's telling me to do. But no, they're good fun. All the bad bits and everybody else has crashed at them, so you know where to slow down now.
Now moving into the darkness now, any problems with that for you?
No, not really. We just haven't had a lot of experience in the dark, but it won't be a problem. It'll be okay.
Good old Barbara. What about Miles Stewart? He was in front of Barbara.
I'm struggling a little bit because with the VTEC engine you don't get any power till 6,000 revs, and it's very, very tight, lots of hairpins, and I'm really struggling out the hairpins, but hopefully it's going to rain tomorrow and that'll alleviate that problem.
And there was a Formula One reporter taking part in a first ever rally. How was she faring?
Louise, what's a Formula One reporter doing on the Jersey Rally?
Having a good time, actually. Having a really good time. I thought I'd come and check it out. Ford offered me a car and Nordic came up with some money and said, "You want to have a go?" So here I am.
What's your rally experience been like before this?
I've done one rally sprint event at Silverstone about a month ago, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but that was sort of 4 times around the same stage, effectively. So this is a bit of a new departure. I'm into pastures new, checking out new stages as we go along.
A steep learning curve.
It is quite a steep learning curve, but I've got a very experienced co-driver with me, Susie Miliani, so she's getting me round no problem.
Now, we've got some night stages coming up, more new learning experiences. How are you going to cope with those?
Yes, pretty tricky in the night. This is special stage 8. And by this stage, Steve Hill was just in front of Jimmy McRae. Stage 8, it's called Bell. And there is McRae, just being a bit careful, making sure he knows the right route. In fact, McRae did drop quite a bit of time during the late evening stages. There's Steve Hill's car spitting flame. So Hill the leader overnight from Fossey, with McRae third, and then Le Breton, Le Bailey and Baudin as we take a view of the Seacat. And now we move on to special stage 15 with the old turbocharger chirping away on Steve Hill's car. Jim Kitson on the notes, who we normally have seen in a Lancia, of course, with Steve Smith in the past. A puff of smoke, and some great shots here from our cameraman Andrew van der Waal. But good to see a Jersey driver actually splitting the 2 top men from the UK. The Porsche sounding superb. There is Jimmy, just every so often clawing the odd second back from Steve Hill and then losing it again. And of course, with these short stages, none of the stages was more than 5 miles. It's very difficult to really get into a rhythm. Stuart Le Breton, one of the top Jersey runners, well up in the top 5. And quite a nice group of spectators there, getting free entertainment, of course, on the Jersey Rally, backed by Shell Oils. And these cars really are nice and clean. They may be old, but they're immaculately prepared. Now, here's something a bit different. The only metro on the island. This is Chris Slaboniak. And I would think a metro would be a good weapon for around these little tight lanes. But Chris was just outside the top 10. Miles Stewart trying a bit too hard there. Oh, lots of revs on the VTEC engine, and off he flies. But still ahead of Barbara Armstrong on Saturday morning. Barbara had had some problems with the battery, all the stopping and starting. The old rear wheel there, hovering in the air. Well, Barbara certainly having a very good run indeed in the Barcelona registered car there. Well, this is a nice place for service. The Steve Hill crew wait for him to arrive. This chap's got time to read the Jersey Evening Post. And then Steve comes in pretty smartly. Still that big battle going on between him and Jimmy McRae. How was it going?
Jimmy McRae's keeping you honest this morning, isn't he?
He certainly is. We expected Jimmy to go a bit quicker this morning, and it's nip and tuck at the minute. He's taken a bit back, and we've just taken another couple back out of him, so we've got to keep going as hard as we can.
How do this morning's stages compare with yesterday's?
They're a little bit more open. Generally, they're a little bit more open, so a bit faster, and perhaps suit Jimmy a little bit more than me. My car's probably suited better to the little tight, twisty stuff.
What about Colin and Alistair's dad? How was he doing?
We've taken some time out of him, but not enough, really. I think it's just touch and go at the moment. So.
Stuart LeBreton having a good run.
Yeah, not too bad. We managed to keep out the hedges, but pressure's on quite a bit to try and keep up. Try and just keep my place where I am. I think I'll be more than happy, really.
Now, two overseas drivers, as it were, ahead of you. Is there a big battle to be top Jerseyman on the event?
There's a little bit of a battle going on between me and Wayne, because we both run similar sort of cars. He's probably a little bit quicker. He just drove past me, and there's always been a bit of, as you can see, Zitty's car. So maybe he's had a bit of an off. So maybe we've managed to pull out a bit in front of him. But it's always there's a bit of local competition, yeah.
The last 10 stages, actually, the Trinity and St Martin stages used 5 times. And by the end of that, they should know it pretty well. And certainly Steve Hill looks as if he knows that corner, because he really was hanging the tail out. Done a lot of this through populated area around the houses. And Trinity, one of the longest stages, about a 6-minute stage. Here is Jimmy. Quite a lot of smoke now coming from the back of the Porsche. Not quite sure the history of this particular car. I notice it's running on Q plates. Wonderful noise of twin cam escort. Oh, that's LeBreton really siding the tail out and laying the rubber as he accelerates away. Great stuff there. And a nice shot here coming through the houses as he continues on his way. Having a very good run indeed. And big tail slide from Bourdain. I think that car's probably got quite a bit more power than the previous one. Jeremy Bourdain. Just a little bit off the cam. Here's Miles Jude, and one of the lights hanging out, one of the winkers. But sadly, a few moments after these shots, he retired, so that handed the Formula 2 lead to this lady here, Barbara Armstrong, actually moving up to 5th place behind Steve Hill, Jimmy McRae, Simon LeBreton and Jeremy Bourdain. Those the first 4, and then Babs. But here's the winner by just 8 seconds.
It's been a tremendous battle. It's the hardest win I've ever had, and really happy to beat Jimmy. He made it very, very hard for us. Constant pressure.
Confirmation there of the result. Hill from McRae. What was Jimmy's thoughts?
It was a good battle. It was going really well, and the stages seemed to suit the Porsche a bit better. And I think I got my act together a bit better this afternoon. It was good.